This is Dr. Lou Sella, Doctor of Sport and Performance Psychology. We're going to address the 500-pound elephant in the room. Yeah, Army's 7-0 right now. However, last game they ran triple option one time. They ran it just one time, and they spent a lot of the game in the shotgun. And right now they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it for a variety of reasons. Number one, quarterback is just running out of his mind right now. Now, we've seen this before. Navy did the same thing with Malcolm Perry in 2019. To some extent, they did it in the past. Years ago, Navy did. And if you want to talk about Navy, well, they're all over the place on offense, and they're getting it done. The question is, we've seen this time and time again from teams that are option-based teams, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw, and we've all learned the same thing with the shotgun. Yeah, you're going to get some wins short term, but what happens long term is you get away from forcing people to play assignment football, and bad things start to happen over the long term. Because you have to have an under center triple option component so you can veer past the defensive line. Your quarterback can quickly get past the defensive line, and you make people play assignments. It makes people play it different. What happened in Army's last game is, yeah, they scored 45 points, and that's great. We would all love to score 45 points in a game. But the sustainability of it is the problem. And here's the thing. We've seen this so many times before from Army, Navy, Air Force, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw. We've seen so many schools that are option-based schools, especially the academies, go to this worldly approach, and they get away with it in the short term. Army's getting away with it right now because they're not really playing anybody that's that good, okay? Let's be honest. The AAC is as down as it's ever been. And listen, I'm very happy Army's 7-0 right now. Very happy. But what they're doing, it's not really sustainable. Listen, they're blocking better than I've ever seen them block. I mean, they're taking their no-star kids that have no NIL money, and they are getting after it. Yeah, they got a West Texas kid at quarterback that is running like a gold-nutted stud. But is it sustainable? What's going to happen when they play real teams? And I'll tell you what. The Air Force game, Air Force gets a little bit better every week. Yeah, they've had to rebuild. And let me tell you something. Air Force has made their mistakes this year with the offense. Fooling around in the shotgun and looking like a bunch of stunads. But really, what's happened is Air Force has gotten back to basics, and they're getting a little better every week. It took a while, the last game, to start getting return on investment, but at the end, it became a one-score game with Colorado State. But here's the thing. In Army's case, they ran triple option one time the whole game. And they've done this before, too. The problem is it's unsustainable because Don Brown had said this years ago about defending Army. As soon as they start to make the triple option under 10% of their offense, you have to play them different. You start playing them like you play anybody else. And that's where ultimately they lose their edge. They lose their long-term edge. And eventually they're going to plateau. They're going to start going down. And then they're going to have to get back to basics again. I watched Navy go through this vicious cycle 3 different times during the Niumatalolo era. And it led to his demise. Now he's resurrecting his career at San Jose State for now. But the reality is, when you're the ultra underdog, when you're an ultimate underdog, the formula's been there for years. You triple team, read, and evade your way to beating your Goliaths. You've got to go under center with the zone dive. You've got to go under center with mid-triple. You've got to go under center with the rocket toss, and then eventually play action. You tag off the zone dive with the follow and the kick. Last game, Army ran follow both under center and in the gun. It was almost the follow offense. And then what they were doing was they were utilizing zone dive out of gun to protect follow, so that when they set the B back to where the follow was going, they would run zone dive where they'd give the ball to the back and he'd come across to the other side. So basically they were protecting a play. But it's like anything else you do in life. You do something like, let's say for example, you never had a dog before and you buy a dog. Now you got to buy food for the dog. Now you got to buy a collar for the dog. Now do I buy an electric fence for the dog? Now I've got to take the dog to the vet. Now I've got to have a plan for how the dog sleeps. Now I have to have a plan for when I'm gone for 10 hours in a day, who's going to take care of the dog? And we make our life more complicated. And that's what's going on right now. Very happy to see Army's winning, but it's not sustainable. It's sustainable when they get under center and do the 3 core things that have been time-tested and infallible. Under center zone dive, under center mid-triple, under center toss. And they got some good teams upcoming. They're going to have to play North Texas, who's pretty freaking good. They're going to have to play Notre Dame. And then at some point, they very well could have to play Tulane, who is the best team in their conference right now. So pretty much, they're going to be tested. They haven't really been tested to date. Their biggest test was Florida Atlantic. Defensively, they're also playing well. Now, as far as Army's rival, that's a whole different topic. You got to remember, my job is to teach you how to run the triple option offense in the modern form. Yeah, our Navy really isn't running that much triple. But when they do, everybody thinks they're a triple option football program. But they're not really running much of it, so we don't count them. Army and Air Force are, except last week, Army really didn't. But they've done this before. And when they do this, they start going backwards. So, warning, Army might have peaked. I hope I'm wrong. They've been my team. I've been going to Army games since the 90s. I love Army football. Nothing beats going up there on a Saturday afternoon. Nothing. I love being there, and I love what it represents. And, you know, the sick world that we're in, it makes you feel good about America when you're there. But I'm concerned about the lack of triple option they run because it's a vicious cycle. They stop running it, people start defending him a certain way. Now they start spying the quarterback because he's the primary runner. Now they start playing differently. The triple option changes all that because when they get under center and run midline triple option, it forces people to have to play assignments, and that changes the game for the defensive tackle, the defensive end, the backer, the Mike backer, the outside backer, the secondary, changes everything. So hopefully they get back to that when they play Air Force. I don't hold out a lot of hope in Commander-in-Chief games because all it turns into is basically who's got the cooler play. And then Army plays Notre Dame. The point of the video is this. Get under center, run zone dive, and midline triple option. That's the hardest thing for people to defend. Because if you don't have a threat of a triple option, people play it different. And listen, take it from somebody who did that in his coaching career. I did it. I was the dummy who made the mistakes when I was young and got away from it, even when I wasn't that young. Because you get distracted and you start to forget why we're here. You're here because of zone dive and midline triple option. That's why you're here. Stick with it. It pays dividends. I'm very concerned for Army right now that they peaked. We'll see what happens. Now, if you're ready to win big in 2025, give me a call right now. 570-332-0265. 570-332-0265. I'll see you in the next video. Talk soon.